Hello, hello. Lextron is just grabbing. She's coming.
Right now, I'm coming, I'm coming. I needed to get the Snow Leopard. I did not have it.
It's not till later.
I know, but I wanted to have it, so we had it.
Fair enough. I'm gonna just move this around. How's it going, Dan? How you been?
I know he left us a couple of comments that I haven't had a chance to answer yet.
Oh yeah, you were working on those. Get some good comments.
We actually did get some really good ones. We got one about someone posted that Harry is getting gaslit. It's about Order of the Phoenix. Harry's getting gaslit. He's being physically abused by Umbridge. He's still suffering from the trauma of Book 4. Of course he's not going to tell anybody. All of his actions are completely justified based on what he's going through right now. That's kind of a summation. I'll just give a shout out, Samantha Hunter. That was your comment, and it was really great. I really loved it. Because it was just like, finally, someone understands that Harry isn't just being whiny. He's really suffering from a lot of trauma and awful things.
I mean, that's fair enough. That's understandable. But first time reading through it kind of gets annoying. But yes, I think it is justified.
You only got halfway through the intro on the Snow Leopard. Oh, Dan, I think you're going to love the Snow Leopard. If you give it a shot and you sit down and read it, I think that book's going to be right up your alley. As far as that goes, I know that there was a span of time where I didn't answer the comments for a hot minute, so that could also be part of the issue.
You've been pretty good about it for the past few weeks. I even hop in every now and then, answer some comments, but when I can.
So maybe that's a YouTube problem.
Maybe. Yeah, someone was saying that they weren't getting the notifications for when we went live and when a video would post. So I think YouTube just kind of being funky with notifications.
Okay.
They're rolling out a bunch of new features, so I wonder if some stuff is just not
There's just
right.
Bugs happening here and there. Okay. So it seems to be an issue on more than one front for different things.
Yeah, fair enough. Actually...
Oh, you got your booster? Yeah, I don't blame you, man. You should have been here for the last stream. The last stream, I was reading, I was doing good, and we had to cut it short because we got through like 3/4 of the stream, and like then all of a sudden the booster just started to kick my ass, and then I just couldn't anymore, and I had to go take a nap because I felt like garbage.
Something about the booster, because the booster kicked my butt too, and I don't get my butt kicked by vaccines.
Me either. I usually just get a shot and I'm good, no matter what it is. If it's blood work, shots, whatever, I'm usually good. But I wonder if it was because we had the J&J and then we just got the Pfizer. You got the Pfizer,
Maybe.
Right? I don't know. Hello, Willow.
Mixing
Welcome.
brands. Hello.
I don't know. Either way, it did kick my butt.
I did have a question for you.
Oh, you got a question for me this time.
Goes along with the starting a book and not being able to finish it. What book were you excited to read and then you couldn't finish it? You were excited for it. It looked like a great book. And then you got like halfway through it.
And I hated it.
You couldn't do it. Or it was just boring.
I have a couple of books like that, but I did finish them. I have never not finished a book.
The one and only book I have not finished, and I have tried to get through twice now, is Closing Time. It's a Catch-22 sequel.
Yeah, I never tried to read that. I not that I didn't want to, I just was like, Catch-22 is so good by itself. Mm-hmm. I don't need to read the next one, because there's no way it can be as good.
22 was great, so I was like, ooh, let's get in the sequel. Let's get some more of that, Catch-22 comedy going.
Yeah, the language and everything.
It didn't have the same magic. It was much more depressing. tried to read it twice now, and every time I get about halfway through and I can't finish it.
Dan said 1984 just because he had to return it to the library. I feel
Oh,
like that's not because you weren't interested, but that's just because of the library.
yeah.
Um,
There is a part.
I will agree with you about the fifth Hitchhiker's book. By the time you get to the fifth Hitchhiker's book, I struggled to get through that one. I had a hard time getting through the fifth one. Even 4 was a little difficult, but 5 it was just like, okay, I have to read it just because I have to read it.
All right, before we get into it, because I know you're getting the chapter ready, what is the book
So there's
that you
2.
couldn't?
So there's 2. The first one is the Scarlet Letter.
Mm-hmm.
I had so a little background. In my family, we are very much a classic literature educated family in that regard. Like, my family holds the great books in very high regard. When I was a kid, when I was in 4th grade, I had a 12th grade reading level. So I was reading all kinds of things all the time. And I love classic literature, but I love junky literature. I love everything. But so growing up, I always heard about, Henry David Thoreau and Moby Dick and the Inferno and yada yada. I heard about all of these things all the time, and Shakespeare. And you go to Thanksgiving and people are quoting Shakespeare at each other back and forth. That's like what Thanksgiving was like for a long time. So I heard a lot about the Scarlet Letter, and Nathaniel Hawthorne, I just had it in my head that the Scarlet Letter is like one of these great books. And it's one of those books that you're going to read and it's going to be phenomenal. It's great. And I literally get through a third of this book and I'm like, I literally hate this book so much. I hate this. It's my aunt's favorite book. And I'm just like, I cannot stand this book. I cannot stand anyone in this book. Everyone sucks. They're wusses. They're whiny. I can't stand it. The only redeeming quality of that book that got me to finish that book was the villain character, Roger Chillingsworth. Because all the other characters I could give 2 craps about. But the villain, Roger Chillingsworth, was honestly one of the best villain stories I've ever read. And to this day, I will say he is actually one of the greatest villains I've ever read in fiction. It was the only reason I was able to finish that book. The other book, bear in mind, this was, I'm going to date myself badly with this. I was given a book in 9th grade honors English by my English teacher. My English teacher said to me, "You love Harry Potter." And I looked at her and I said, "I love Harry Potter." And any of you that watch this channel, I love Harry Potter.
You kind of like it, I guess.
So she gives me this book and she says, "Well, if you like Harry Potter, this should be right up your alley."
Right.
And that book was the first Twilight novel.
Oh, okay.
Now,
I didn't think you ever actually started that book, so that's interesting.
So I got the first Twilight novel before even there were sequels out.
Before Twilight was a thing.
Right.
The thing it became.
When I got the first Twilight novel, the first book had just hit the bestsellers list. It was just turning into a thing. The sequel wasn't out yet. I literally didn't know anything about Twilight. She just gave me this book and said, "If you like Harry Potter, you'll love this." I had to force myself to finish the book because I got a third of the way through it and thought, this is absolute garbage. But I'm a third of the way through it, and
You might as well see if it redeems itself.
right, I was like, whatever, I'm a third of the way through it. Maybe it gets better. I don't know. Because some books have really slow starts, this and that. And by the time I realized it was awful, I was like, I still have to just, I've never not finished a book. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and say I've never not finished a book. Even if I hate it, even if it's terrible, I'm still going to finish it just to say I've never not finished a book. So I read the whole thing and came away with, wow, this is terrible. Why is this a bestseller? This is terrible for young girls. This is awful. I hate this. I will never do anything to participate in any part of any of this fandom situation, whatever. I've never read another book. I've never seen any of the movies. Nothing. I just. Ugh.
I mean, that's fair enough. I don't comment on it because I've never read them. I've never watched any of the movies. I don't want to, but I can't say if it's good or bad because I've never given them a chance. So
You would hate them.
but I really don't want to.
You would not like them.
It doesn't look like something I'd like, but I won't say that they're bad.
They're not anything for you. No.
I haven't. And yes, the worst witch is literally just like a mirror copy
of Harry Potter
in so many ways.
The difference is, though, the worst witch came out first. But I think Rowling used that as an inspiration and expanded upon it greatly.
Yeah, but she
there's so much
inspiration.
You stop it.
Even like if you watch the show, the characters just they look the same. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it's a lot like. And the other comment by Dan, the Moby Dick, I have never read it, but she read it and she talked to me about it so much. I feel like I've read it.
I love Moby Dick. It's one of the best books ever. It's in my top 10. I absolutely love Moby Dick. It's a brilliant piece of work, and I want to read it again. I'm like already sitting here like I just read it a couple years ago, and I already want to go back and reread it because it was just so good.
And I know you want to express your love for Moby Dick.
No, I gotta.
Just so we can get through.
I know, but let me just say one more thing. For years and years and years, sitting at the table and listening to my family talk about how great Moby Dick was, and then listening to my mom talk about how much she hated it, and having these two opposing opinions about Moby Dick for so many years, and then finally sitting down and getting into it, I'm like, oh my God, I have found
you have found your great white whale.
A diamond in the rough. In Moby Dick.
Your great white whale.
He's my baby, great white whale.
Yes.
I love him. He's in my heart. Right next to Harry Potter is Moby Dick.
Because we're 15 minutes in.
Almost 20 now.
Yeah. Let's hop in so we can get a couple chapters done. So I want to know what happens to Lupin next.
Okay.
Not that I, didn't appreciate our talks about books. But we do have to talk about the two canines in this.
Yes. No felines? Well, one feline.
Felines in this one. Well, yeah. There's always a feline. That's not the story.
I know.
No texting in class.
I'm sorry. Oh, Aladdin 1 and 2? Oh my God. The Aladdin sequels. I won't talk about the Aladdin sequels. I'm not going to go there because then it'll just be another thing. Okay. Chapter 68. 4th year. March. Content warning for underage drinking and smoking. You've all been warned. Snow leopards in an hour. I love me a little Panthera uncia.
Panther.
Don't know what time it was. The lights were low, I leaned back on my radio, oh. Some cat was lying down some rock and roll, lot of soul, he said. Then the loud sound did seem to fade. Aye. Came back like a slow voice on a wave of phase. Aye. There weren't no DJ, that was hazy comic jive. Some song.
You gotta harmonize, really get into it.
Well, you didn't give me a song to sing it to, so I could have
just come up with it,
Yeah.
I'll air guitar for you.
It's too late now. It's too late now.
Right.
Considering the events of the spring term, Remus was not expecting much of a celebration as his 15th birthday approached. Of course, the Marauders were as pleased as ever to prove him wrong. As usual, everything was planned with extreme secrecy, and Remus was completely unaware until the very last moment. It was the Saturday before his birthday, and he'd been lounging on his bed reading, with one of Sirius's records playing low in the background. He often borrowed the record player and camped out in his bed these days. Sirius never seemed to mind. It was only about 9 o'clock, but he was alone, and considering an early night. Just as he'd made his mind up to get into his pyjamas, Sirius burst into the room with a wicked grin on his face that could only mean one thing. It was going to be a long night. "Ready?" he said, bounding across the room, bringing in the smell of wood smoke from the common room fireplace. "For what?" Remus asked calmly. Oh, wow, I just totally did a...
Yeah,
I just did a Dumbledore.
Just a goblet of fire.
"For what?" Remus asked calmly, marking his place and setting his book aside. "For your birthday surprise, obviously," Sirius sighed, as if Remus was being very slow. "Come on, up you get. Shoes on, please. Wear those mad muggle boots you've got with the crazy laces." Where are we going?" "Out!" Sirius began digging round in his trunk. He withdrew a pair of muggled jeans and a plain black t-shirt. "Oh, you mean out? Remus raised an eyebrow as Sirius began to undress. "Yeah, take your cloak." Sirius looked good in muggle clothes, Remus thought to himself. Really, most people look better in a t-shirt and jeans than they did in a school uniform or 17th century robes, but Sirius wore everything well. Remus asked no further questions as he laced up his boots. It was clear that Sirius was enjoying the surprise, and he saw no reason to spoil it. He was led down the stairs, feeling very odd in jeans and a travelling cloak, but not complaining. Sirius probably thought they looked the height of muggle fashion. In the common room they were met by James and Peter, also grinning mischievously. "You know my birthday isn't for 2 days yet," Remus said, a small smile of his own playing on his lips. "Tonight's events are time-sensitive," Sirius replied briskly. He was trying to retain an aloof air of mystery, but was clearly bursting to tell Remus everything. "And don't you worry," James said, eyes twinkling as he held back the portrait door to exit the common room. "We won't forget to sing for you on Monday at breakfast." "And lunch," Peter added. "And dinner," Sirius finished. Now they were wending their way down the Gryffindor Tower staircase. "Under you go, lads," James said, throwing the heavy invisibility cloak all over the 4 of them. As long as they all stayed very close together and Remus hunched over, they just about fit. It wouldn't stand another growth spurt from any of them, though. Fortunately, they didn't have to shuffle too far. As Remus had expected, they headed for the statue of the humpbacked witch and slipped behind it into the tunnel which led into Honeydukes. "So, 15, Sirius said cheerfully as they walked, clapping Remus on the shoulder in what he might have considered a very manly sort of way. "Excited?" Remus shrugged. "I never really thought about it. You tell me. You're the oldest." "Well, obviously I'm much wiser and more mature than the rest of you." James snorted, walking ahead with his wand lit. Sirius ignored him. "I'd rather be 17, though. Then we could apparate at least." "Oh, don't start," Peter huffed, bringing up the rear. "He actually wanted to try and learn to apparate, Remus, just for your birthday, so we could get into Hogsmeade easier." "Can't apparate inside Hogwarts," Remus said. 10 points to Mooney, Sirius grinned. We could have apparated out of the cellar, though. Save us having to try and get past old Honeyduke. Apparition is really hard, though, isn't it? Remus asked. He secretly wasn't sure if he'd be able to do it at all. Even doing a side-along with Mr. Potter that once had been exhausting and made him feel sick. Yeah, but we could do it, Sirius replied confidently. It was a bit much on top of everything else we had to do this term, though, Peter said. Sirius gave the smaller boy a very annoyed look, and Peter's mouth dropped open, as if he'd said something very wrong. You mean with exams coming up? Remus asked innocently to save Peter. He was amazed Pettigrew had managed to keep quiet for so long as it was, though it wasn't as if James and Sirius were half as discreet as they thought they were. Yeah, exactly, Peter sounded relieved. Exams! I'm definitely going to fail History of Magic this year. Definitely. I'll never get an OWL in it. They talked about the next year's OWLs for a bit longer, bemoaning their own unpreparedness in this subject or that, though Remus was actually quite looking forward to them, especially the practical exams. Finally, they reached the Honeyduke's cellar, and this was where the plan somewhat fell apart. Bugger, James said as he tried the locked door. He's usually still up doing his accounts or whatever. Must have gone to bed early. Or he could be out, Remus suggested. It's a Saturday night. What are we going to do? Peter asked. Alohomora? Oh, but we can't do magic. Let me see. Remus stepped forward, fiddling in his back pocket for the hairpin he'd had since summer. Easy, he said, inspecting the lock. He bent over it, inserted the pin, stroking it slowly upwards and listening carefully. The satisfying click told him it had worked, and he stepped back, opening the door with a flourish. Ta-da! You beauty! James cheered. Come on, let's go! Once inside the shop, it was even easier, as that lock worked from the inside. Then, all of a sudden, they were outside on Hogsmeade High Street in the cold night air. It was deliciously thrilling. Being somewhere they shouldn't, Remus didn't even care if they got away with it or not. He followed Sirius and James up the cobbled street, past the 3 broomsticks, the clothes shops, and post office.
Aren't they still in detention, technically? It hasn't been 3 weeks. And they're risking it now?
Marauders don't give an F.
Apparently. And
it's Remus's birthday.
Oh, you inspired someone.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope that I can help you sleep soundly this evening. The 2 excitable boys stopped abruptly outside another pub, one Remus hadn't been to before. The sign swinging above the entrance said, The Hog's Head, with an appropriately gory image beneath. There was an A-frame chalkboard on the pavement outside which read, Live music tonight, open mic, Muggle tribute acts. Oh my God, Remus exclaimed. This was absolutely the last thing he'd expected. Now he knew why Sirius was grinning so broadly his cheeks must hurt. What do you think? The dark-haired boy asked earnestly. Sirius promised just... Geez, I look away for a second. Now I can't read. Sirius promised us you'd love it, James said, sounding less sure. Remus just stared at the chalkboard, then at Sirius. I love it, he confirmed. Inside, it was neither very busy nor too quiet, and looked as though the first act was just setting up. It wasn't as nice as the 3 broomsticks. There was straw on the floor rather than a carpet, and it smelled faintly of a farmyard.
Oh, maybe goats?
Goats? Maybe there's some goats about? Speaking of which, I think we'll have some things to say about the Snow Leopard later, about goats.
Maybe Aberforth is there in the Himalayas. But anyways. Oh, I just said the name, spoiled it.
I think if they're if they're listening to this, they've read the series by now.
You don't know?
Well, I guess, poo for you. You ruined it for somebody out there. But Remus could see that they definitely weren't going to bump into anyone they knew, and no one was going to grass on them to the school. "I'll get the first round in," Sirius said merrily, mischief still twinkling in his eyes. "Sirius?" James said sternly. "Butterbeers, yeah?" "So," Remus said as they settled themselves round a small rickety table which was close enough to the band, but also in a gloomy corner just in case. "Muggle tribute acts? Is that a normal thing for wizards to listen to?" "Nah," James shook his head, looking just as baffled. "There's been a bit of a trend for it lately, defying the Dark Lord and all his pure-blood shite, that sort of thing." "Are they going to play David Bowie?" Peter asked. Poor Peter had the impression that Muggle music began and ended with David Bowie, thanks to Sirius and Remus. The band announced themselves as the Banshee Blues just as Sirius returned with a tray of drinks. About 15 of them. "Sirius?" James raised his eyebrows. "What?" Sirius winked at him. "I got your butterbeer." "I meant just butterbeer. For all of us. How did you even get served? Is that fire whiskey?" "And mead," Sirius nodded. "Don't drink any if you don't want it. Here." He picked up a glass with about 2 inches of golden brown coloured liquid in it, raising it. "To our beloved Moony, inventor of the Marauders map, architect of our greatest pranks, completer of our overdue homework." "To Moony!" The other two smirked. Remus looked at the band, too embarrassed to respond. He'd never seen live music performed before, let alone live music performed by wizards. Their clothes were predictably odd, a mix of traditional robes and assorted Muggle garments. The lead singer wore a white Stetson, for some reason, paired with a pink feather boa. The instruments looked Mugglish enough, but they had no amplifiers. Apparently magic took care of the volume. They played a few Beatles songs, then some Rolling Stones, and Remus thought they were pretty good. Even James was tapping his foot along by the end.
Jackson. Knocking over Jurassic World.
Rexy does not approve.
I don't know why we have a dinosaur set up now.
It's fine. Who doesn't like dinosaurs? Anyone who doesn't like dinosaurs can fight me.
Fair
enough. Even James was tapping his foot along by the end, though that might have been due to Sirius sneaking measures of fire whiskey into his butterbeer. Fire whiskey was pretty foul, Remus thought, but no worse than the cheap vodka he'd been knocking back last summer. "Yeah, you and me, Remus. Cheap vodka." "I know how you feel, buddy." He proudly swallowed his first glass in one without wincing, and Sirius stared at him in awe. Peter stuck to mead and kept asking, "Am I drunk yet? Am I drunk?" after every sip. After 2 flagons, he probably was.
I mean, if you have to ask.
If you have to ask. Oh my god, I told the story of Pachari's wedding today.
Oh god. Let's finish this and you can reveal that secret to the world.
"Maybe we should just stick to butterbeer now," Remus said, eyeing Peter with concern. He was swaying on his stool slightly, pink-cheeked and grinning. Banshee Blues were packing away their instruments, and a pale-faced young woman with a drippy fringe approached the mic stand. "That you, Lupin?" A young wizard approached them from the bar. Remus vaguely recognized him, but wasn't sure where from. Hi," he said nervously. "Arnold Doyle! I was at Hogwarts last year, remember?" He was tall and lanky, but so were half the boys at school. Your fags got me through my new... Sorry. NEWTs. "Oh, right, yeah. Hi, Arnold. Sorry." He still wasn't sure he remembered him, but the whiskey had made him feel friendly and warm towards everyone. "What are you doing here?" "Girlfriend's playing." He nodded up at the stage where the drippy-looking girl was tuning her acoustic guitar. "What about you?" Thought you were still at school. It's my birthday, Remus grinned. Snuck out, innit? Arnold laughed. Gotcha! Well, I won't club you in. Can I buy you a drink? Say thanks for the cigs. You're our kind of man, Arnold, Sirius called out, more loudly than he needed to in such a small pub, but he'd been matching Remus drink for drink. Arnold just laughed and went back to the bar. His girlfriend started playing, a Bob Dylan song, it sounded like, but Remus wasn't that familiar with folk. He still couldn't remember ever having sold Arnold anything, but Arnold clearly felt a debt was owed because he bought Remus an entire bottle of fire whiskey and set it down on the table. Happy birthday! Come of age, have you? Surely, Peter started, then stopped as Sirius kicked him hard under the table. Yeah, Remus replied smoothly. Cheers! After that, things went a bit wobbly, but he definitely decided smoking was a good idea, and Sirius, keen not to be outdone, agreed. Those things stink, Mooney, James complained, pulling a face. And what does he mean your fags got him through his NEWTs? He must have confused me with someone, Remus shrugged. Sirius burst into hysterical giggling. The next band, in Remus's opinion, was the best. They were called Dragonhide and played a lot of Slade, Status Quo, and Black Sabbath. It made Remus want to get up and dance, but he wasn't as drunk as Sirius or Peter, and had not completely lost his inhibitions. He couldn't help singing along toward the end, though, as almost everyone in the pub was by this point. It seemed somehow like such a good idea to get up on his chair, waving his glass above his head as the whole pub roared, So come on, feel the noise, grab your boys, get wild, wild, wild. We get wild, wild, wild. Sirius, of course, thought this was great fun, and after 2 attempts to climb onto his own stool, quickly caught by James, who was in better command of his faculties, ended up with his arms slung around James and Peter, swinging this way and that, singing at the top of his voice, So you think we have a lazy time? Well, you should know better. And I don't know why, I just don't know why. And you say I got a dirty mind, well, I'm a mean go-getter. And I don't know why, and I don't know why anymore. Oh no! In fact, the Marauders were also taken by this hook that they were still singing it as loudly as they could as they staggered back through Hogsmeade to the high street, arm in arm, tripping and laughing as they went. Out in the cold air, Remus felt a bit sharper and slightly guilty as he realised what a state Sirius and Peter were in. By the time they got to Honeydukes, it must have been well past midnight. They snuck inside as quietly as possible and headed for the cellar, James and Remus desperately trying to herd Sirius and Peter away from all the sweets on display. The walk back through the tunnel to Hogwarts was pretty dreadful. Peter could barely keep his eyes open and staggered against James, complaining he had a headache. Sirius bounced from wall to wall, seeming only held upright by his own forward momentum, occasionally bursting into snatches of song. At the end of the tunnel, James and Remus were very much sober. Peter was barely conscious, and Sirius was looking worryingly green. Merlin, how are we going to get them back up to bed without waking up the whole castle? James huffed, still supporting Peter. Sirius promptly leaned over and threw up. Christ! Remus grabbed his shoulders as he was in danger of toppling forward into the pool of sick. He pulled Sirius's hair back quickly and patted his friend on the back. He looked at James. Why don't you take Peter under the cloak? It'll be easier. I'll wait a bit with him. He jerked his head at Sirius. Then summon the cloak in half an hour or so? Easier with 2, anyway. Good plan, James said gratefully. You sure you don't want me to watch him? Sirius sat on the ground, very suddenly, head in his hands and groaning. No, I've looked after pissheads before, Remus smirked. You go. Cheers for the birthday, James. It was bloody brilliant. James flashed him a smile before disappearing under the invisibility cloak with Peter still clinging on for dear life. Remus sighed and sat himself down next to Sirius. He pointed his wand at the mess opposite. Scourgify! And it was clean. Sirius groaned again and rested his head on Remus's shoulder. Remus chuckled softly. All right there, mate. Yeah, sounds about right. Hey, don't puke on me, okay? Thirsty? Yeah. Remus drank the last of his bottle of fire whiskey, then touched his wand to the opening. Aguamenti! And it filled with crystal clear cold water. He handed it to Sirius. Don't drink it too fast or you'll puke. Sirius sipped it a bit, eyes still closed. His face was a bit pale and clammy, but he still looked 10 times better than Remus probably did. You're so good at this stuff, Rooney, he slurred, leaning heavily on Remus's shoulder. Yeah, Remus grunted, picking locks and holding my drink. Magic, Sirius murmured sleepily. Yeah, we're wizards, idiot. I'm good at magic, Sirius sighed. But you like, magic, you know? You're drunk and talking bollocks, Remus laughed. Oi, don't fall asleep, I've got to get you back. Shut up, Sirius replied, nodding off. Remus sighed and wondered if anyone would notice if they just stayed put.
You do a great drunk, Sirius.
Thank you.
Very accurate.
Thank you. Listen, Sirius is the closest character to my astrology sign. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So, just saying, I vibe with Sirius.
I don't know if I've ever seen you that drunk, though. I feel like you're either not that drunk or you're far past that and you're just out. You don't get to the point where you're like stumbling drunk.
Yeah, it's
You're
either like I'm good or
yeah, pretty
Yep.
much.
Yep, that's what happens.
Or can you pick me up? Kind of like the time at Pachar's wedding with me, though.
Oh my God,
Last time I really got drunk.
I told the two students about that today.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know them.
But you would like them. They're lovely.
Do you remember the first time you got drunk? I think it fits this better since
the first time the first time I got drunk around you.
No, just the first time.
I got really like
yeah. Were you like Peter? You know, am I drunk yet? Is this what drunk feels like?
I'm. A wizard card. Louis Armstrong would be proud. I'm sorry, I was reading the things. I remember the first time the two of us got really drunk, we ordered pizza and drank and played video games.
Yes.
And I remember.
No, I meant the first time you ever like got drunk, like really drunk.
I'm trying to remember the first time I got really drunk. I think it was at a party at a coworker, my mom's coworker's house. I was doing shots of gin with someone, and I never had gin before. And then, like, all of a sudden, I was like, "Whoa, fuck, what is happening? Oh shit!" And then the second time I got really drunk was in college. I went to the bar with a couple of classmates, and one of them, it was their 21st birthday, and I did 3 Jaeger bombs in a row. Yeah, that was it. That was all I needed. And then we had to walk back to campus through a police station. Oh my God. We were such idiots. We were all literally walking like this. Trying to be quiet. So there were like 7 of us. And we were all just like, it's the Popo. We have to be quiet. It's the Popo.
So you were basically the Marauders. The first
Yeah,
time you had to...
yes.
Okay.
First time we went to
Yeah.
a bar, yeah, we were 3 Jaeger bombs right in a row, and then
See,
no, and then I had 2 whiskey sours after.
oof,
Yeah.
you are a champ.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
You know what happened though? I got back, I smoked some weed, and after I smoked the weed, I was like fine the next day.
Oh, Smirnoff Ice. Do you remember the ice challenge, Dan? That was a thing when I was in college. That sucked.
He just said Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah, it pops up sooner on my phone apparently. Yeah. I hated that challenge so much because my roommate was like super into it and he would get us all the time.
Ugh. I never
Like
was a part of
literally
the Smirnoff Ice.
one morning he put a bottle of Smirnoff on the back of every toilet in the bathroom. So everyone who had to go to the bathroom in the morning walked into the boys' bathroom and just first thing in the morning.
Oh, that sucks. That's rough.
No,
That's a bummer.
There used to be this challenge. It wasn't really a challenge. It would be called getting iced. And you would just stick a Smirnoff Ice in random spots. And when you found it, you had to drink it. So, you would try to get your friends to have to drink a Smirnoff Ice at the most inconvenient times possible. Like first thing in the morning when you have to go to the bathroom.
That is, I don't know if I could handle doing that. That sounds awful. Also,
well, the worst part was this was a morning after there had been like a party on our
right. So you had already been drinking.
So like everyone it was like a floor party on our dorm. So it was like everyone. So no matter who went in there, they were probably hungover and then had to drink it.
I just have to show you this. I'm sorry, but you have to look at it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, King George.
It's totally worth it. It's the only Funko Pop that is worth it. Other than the Godzilla one I have. Ba da 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 da.
Yeah,
Ugh. I'm glad that at my college, all anyone ever wanted to do was go in someone's bathroom and get really stoned.
You got plastered at a church group on New Year's Eve. That is just... I don't need any more context. That's just epic.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Oh my god, Dan has lived a life. Dan has had experiences. He has lived a life. That is fantastic.
All right, one more drinking story, and then we'll get to the next chapter.
All right,
I think we can fit another.
I don't know if we can fit another. Yeah, we can't fit another chapter. We're just gonna have to chat. It was a long. That was a long chapter, though.
Well, we kind of started late.
Yeah, we did.
We got started late. You said it was like
we got started late.
Yeah,
right? I did that on. Yeah, I did that on purpose.
So yeah, the first time I got drunk, we were in high school.
I'm really sorry, but I do have to pee.
Okay.
I'm very sorry.
I will wait. I think I've told you the story once or twice.
You told me the story. Go ahead and tell them the story.
All right. So, it was high school. And obviously, getting a hold of alcohol is very hard. So, we had a friend who said that they could get us some alcohol. It's like, perfect, awesome. He didn't specify what type of alcohol. So, when we got there to get it, he hands us this 2-liter Mountain Dew bottle filled to the brim of some weird alcoholic concoction. And by the smell of it, we thought it was paint thinner. But turns out that he went down to his dad's bar and took all the bottles with just like a little bit left in them that his dad was just going to throw away and wouldn't notice, and just dumped all these bottles into this one bottle. So it was just this concoction of this unknown quantity of different alcohols mixed together.
Yep, you told me this story. I remember this story.
I have never gotten more drunk No, actually, I have gotten more drunk, but I've never felt worse after drinking than that. It was awful. Just trying to drink it was bad, and we played
Jungle juice. Yeah, jungle juice. That's exactly what that is. But
kind of. It was more like dumpster juice. It was terrible. Um,
I'm glad I've never drank anything like that. I mean, I know I've gotten drunk and I've had my fair share of like awful times, but I am so glad I've never had anything like that. I would be sick for like 2
yeah,
days.
because I've had jungle juice, and it's right. It's good if you do it right, but I don't know. It was like gin, vodka, whiskey, scotch, rum, just everything mixed together. And then we played a drinking game. I think it's Pyramid, where you have the cards set up as a pyramid and you flip them over.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't remember how to play at this point, but it was bad. So me and like four of my friends just got completely plastered at his house off of what it was probably paint thinner. That's my
Switched off
first time
before
getting
he
drunk
was
story.
leaving the house. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
I had a story and I forgot the story.
We might have to.
Oh,
We
I
might have
had
to ask Noel about this.
I
when he
had
gets in here.
margarita night at my house with all my friends in high school.
Mhm.
This was like not too long after we'd all graduated.
Okay. I was gonna say,
And we
high
decided
school. What?
we decided to have margarita night. We'd all graduated. And we had 2 big bottles of tequila and all this mix and stuff, and we just were mixing margaritas all night. I got so drunk that I went into my backyard and just pissed. In my backyard. People could.
Why? Was someone in the bathroom?
I don't know. I was so drunk. I was so drunk that I was sick for literally 2 days after, and I will never ever drink tequila ever again because of that margarita night. It was so awful. We got so plastered.
I want to know why you had. Was it just like?
I think I was standing
bathrooms upstairs. It's too much work.
I think I was standing outside on the porch, like smoking a cigarette, and I was just like, I gotta pee. And I just went down the steps of the porch into the backyard and just squatted. I don't know.
I mean, do what you gotta do.
It's just.
Oh, you just left everyone. Jesus. I've had those days though.
I went to college with a girl who got so drunk all the time that she had alcohol poisoning like multiple times throughout the year.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's bad.
We went off of fun drinking to sad drinking. Real quick there. Okay. What Lupin and Sirius and everyone is doing is fun drinking. They're having a great time. That's what we want to focus on here. But yeah, I think Wormtail there.
Am I drunk? Am I drunk?
Well, that, and he almost let some big secrets slip.
He did almost leave some
What's
stuff.
he so busy about?
Animagus gonna turn into a rat someday. Literally and metaphorically. I'm gonna kill you, James, someday.
I
Da 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 da. I'm going to give you up to the Dark Lord to remind you of my love.
Very nice. Bravo. I can't wait to see what Wormtail's reaction is when he turns into a rat. Like, is he gonna be like, "Oh, this is awesome," or is it gonna be like,
"What the hell?"
Like when I got the squirrel as my Patronus. Like, a squirrel?
I think the squirrel is so perfect for you.
Why?
You think like that.
Like a squirrel? What do you mean? How do squirrels think?
Because you're just like,
Do I hide food around the house?
oh. Because
Not
you're
even
just
that good at climbing trees.
because you're like, ooh, an idea, ooh, an idea, ooh, an idea. I got an idea. I got an idea. I got an idea. I got an idea. But and I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
That's not how squirrels work.
That is how squirrels work. They do that. They do that.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. I don't think
I can't remember. Was it a red squirrel or a gray squirrel?
It was a gray squirrel.
Gray squirrel? All right.
Yes.
All right, that is appropriate. We have more gray squirrels here than red squirrels.
Mm-hmm. Got a couple of black ones.
That's true.
I like them
but
black ones.
That's so weird that you squirrels just have ADHD, I guess.
They kind of act like they do.
Yeah, they do.
Look, even Dan is like, you're very squirrely.
I'm very just don't see it. I don't get it.
Well,
Squirrely.
Does eagle owl fit me?
I don't know enough about eagle owls.
Okay.
I haven't seen you throw up any bones yet, though, so I don't know. Maybe it's wrong.
That's what mine is. My Patronus is an eagle owl.
You're not particular about eating small rodents either.
No, well,
I'm starting to think maybe that test isn't so accurate.
Using me as the benchmark. Okay. Okay, I see how it is.
I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like I want to look up squirrel facts now and just see if maybe, just maybe, it is right. But then again, didn't you say someone got a salmon?
Yes.
What possible type of personality is a salmon?
A very perseverant person would be a salmon. Or I'm gonna swim upstream against all odds, against the mainstream. I'm gonna swim upstream.
That's great as long as there's a stream, but literally everywhere else on Earth, you're useless.
I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. I see what your point there.
I really don't know. I didn't get a salmon. I just know that every person who has ever gotten a salmon that I have heard has been extremely disappointed. And anytime anyone else says, "Oh, I don't like my Patronus is a blah 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 blah," and then they're like, "I got a salmon. Shut up." So, you know, Katie has the best Patronus.
What was Katie's?
Hers is a lynx or something. She got a cat. Cool. She got like a lynx. That is or a snow leopard or a bobcat or something.
Has anyone, I guess this can just go out to anyone who's watching, has anyone gotten a magical Patronus, like a phoenix?
No. I don't think so. Well, maybe, I don't know. Magical creature Patronuses are super, super rare.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be Dumbledore to have a magical creature Patronus. Otherwise, they're just animals.
But it's possible. So
it's very possible, but you literally have to be Dumbledore.
Like, maybe someone is.
No, there's no one like Dumbledore. He's the onlyest one.
I feel like
him.
There's got to be
Tigger. He's the onlyest one.
There has to be. There's been other people besides Dumbledore.
Oh, Dan got a cat. A Jackson.
Oh,
sorry, Rexy. I thought you were Jackson for a second. You cornered my eye.
Wow.
I just saw the orange out of the corner of my eye. I'm so sorry.
Well, I guess in that case, you're loving but very feisty. Because that's kind of how our J Action is. He's a ginger cat. So.
Ginger cats have that reputation too.
Although, oh, really?
Yeah. Although, sorry, Rexy, I can't fix it right now. No other cat has a reputation for being as feisty as the Tortie.
And we've seen that because we have.
We have a Tortie, and their reputation for being sassfusses is renowned.
Oh, shoot. The headphones over there. Yeah, earbuds.
Oh, yeah. Here.
I'm just like
Nope.
slowly putting things together because we're gonna need it in a minute.
Yep, you're good. All right, here's
Yeah,
that.
just plug that way.
Garlic. Oh, that's a cute name for a cat. I like that. Garlic.
Garlic.
That's very cute.
The cat that tastes great, but
The
smells
cat
for hours.
that smiles back. Garlic. And here's yours. Just gonna walk away for just 1 second. I drank a lot of this. I need to refill.
All right, could you pour me the rest of that coffee there in the French press?
Mm-hmm.
Please and thank you.
Please.
All right, I'll wait. Oh, about crazy cats. Well, here we have a minute, so let's. I'll bring it up maybe. Oh, maybe. Did you? I'll ask her when she comes back. I think she might have answered your comment there. See.
What did I do?
I see the one about pistachio cake, but I don't see the one. Did you answer Dan's comment about crazy cats?
No.
No? Oh, why isn't it showing up here?
I don't know.
Okay, well.
Maybe it hasn't I don't know. I saw that.
Wow, that was so much fuller than I thought. You like filled that right up to the brim. I didn't look. I just like spilled it down the front of me.
You need to.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You klutz.
All right. Well, I embarrassed myself, so maybe that means nothing else will go wrong on the technical end today. I don't know. There, for some reason, I had to refresh it. What? That really happened? So your last roommate had a cat that would sometimes be good, but would have his moments of rage. One of the roommates, not the primary cat owner, almost had to amputate his leg because the scratch was so deep and started to get infected.
That makes sense.
That's crazy.
Cat scratches are really nasty. They can be. You can get really sick from a cat scratch. Hence, cat scratch fever.
Yeah, that's true, but like I didn't think like amputating levels of bad. Like that's crazy.
Who got a cat scratch on her hand, and she had to have like reconstructive surgery on her hand because the scratch got so badly infected.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, cat claws are no joke.
Now I'm gonna be scared to pick up the cats. What the heck?
You're fine.
No, I do not have the balance to learn to walk on a prosthetic leg. I don't have that sort of ability. But anyways, all right, let's see what Noel's up to. He's ready for this.
Well, most people are not. You gotta clean out the wound, rinse it off and stuff.
Well, yeah. Definitely have to clean out the wound and stuff, but I don't know. That's just That's insane to me. Like, you could lose a leg because of a little cat scratch. It's just,
Yeah.
God. Oh, the room was never clean. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, sanitizing is definitely vital. They can't just leave that.
Well, you can't be a dirty birdie. That's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
That makes a little bit more sense.
Are we ready?
I'm just waiting on Noel. But I mean, you can come back, sit down. It shows Noel's online. He might have just stepped away for a second because
Maybe he had to pee.
he hasn't responded.
Coming back. Da 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 da.
All right, I'm just gonna switch everything over real quick.
Come on, Rexy. You got this, girly. You can do it. You're 30 plus years old. You got this. Life will find a way. Come on. I don't know what happened there. Over there. Looks like paint wore off on you. Come on, girly. Alright, fine. Fine. It's fine.
Hello, Noel.
Oh, finally, Noelle is in the house. All right, let's do this.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
No, you're good.
You are completely fine, sir.
How's your night been so far?
Pretty good.
Nice.
How's yours been?
Pretty good.
I'm pretty excited about our project, but we'll talk about that offline. But I'm pretty stoked about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
sounds
hear
like a
about
good
this.
plan.
We'll talk about it after the stream.
You guys are doing stuff behind my back? What?
We didn't have time to discuss it before.
Oh wait, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm very interested to see what you guys thought of this next section.
Okay, sorry, I left my book over.
No,
over
you're
there.
good. I'm just grabbing.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So, I did listen to this section while there was construction going on behind me, so I feel like I didn't really retain a lot from this section. I did get some, though. I feel like I definitely retained enough.
Yeah, I had a couple favorite parts. I liked when they talked about the wolves.
Yeah.
The
And
wolves that they thought were the snow leopards.
At first.
Yeah, and I feel like GS kind of perked up after that. He was like happier.
Listen,
That's when he made his haiku, right?
I
mean,
totally
yeah,
felt
his whole mood.
I totally felt his thing, because if it were me, and then all of a sudden I was like, ooh, apex carnivores in the region? Oh yeah.
Things are getting real.
I totally was feeling like, yo, I get GS 100%, because I would just be so excited, like, what, wolves in the area? Because wolves means predators, which means if wolves are in the area hunting Varl, that means potentially Panthera Uncia.
I just have to do that every time now.
Yes.
It sounds like such a like EDM band.
Panthera Uncia.
Sounds like the opening to some big festival, you know, Burning Man or something.
Yeah, out in the Himalayas. I'm pretty sure Burning Man's gonna have it in Himalayas one day.
Yeah, it's gonna be called Frozen Man.
No, don't let that happen because there'll be so much garbage everywhere and it's so pristine and clean up there. Don't let that shit happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
The llama up there will be joining in. All right, so
Llama?
The sheep, right?
or no, the religious guy.
Oh,
Oh,
the
yeah.
llama.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
I thought you
of
meant
course.
animal for a second. I was like, wait, what? What the hell are you talking about?
No, so okay. I got really excited because when he first started talking about how the llama wasn't there when he first goes there, and how Tuk Tuk wasn't there,
Took 10.
Tukten, I started thinking like, oh my god, what if Tukten's the llama? What if he's the one they've been looking for the whole time? I thought it's like, oh, this is gonna be a great twist, but no,
That is a pretty good twist.
right? And then the llama's name is actually like Tuk something.
No, that's his title. It's like Tulku.
Yeah, okay, so that, but so like I said, I had a bunch of like background noise when I was trying to listen to this chapter, and then I hear that, and I got all excited, like, I was right, it was Tuk-ten. And then I listened to it a little bit more. I'm like, oh no, okay.
But it's
Tuk-ten just
isn't back yet.
yeah.
But then they journey a little while and they see this apprentice monk and this older monk who's crippled and blah 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 blah, and they think nothing of it, yada yada yada. And then it ends up being that those two, the crippled guy is actually the llama, and he's been there the entire time, and they had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty awesome. What did
Yeah.
you guys think
Hiding
of
in plain sight, right?
what did you guys think
Got it.
of the fact that Peter's entire journey has been to get to this place to meet this llama, and then he finally meets this llama and sits down with him and talks to him, and then GS and him come and sit down with the llama and they sit and talk. What did you think about this? Is potentially the culmination of why he's here, is to go to this monastery and talk to this guy. What did you think of that whole thing?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of the search for the snow leopard, right? It's like sometimes you don't find what you're searching for, and even if you do, it'll never be what you think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the searching was what you were truly looking for.
Right.
What did you think of all his observations of the blue sheep? Because this section is riddled with his observations of the blue sheep and what they do and how they do their thing. And he spends a lot of time looking at the blue sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's almost like they're the unsung heroes of the story. And I don't know if they could really mount a rebellion, but maybe they could.
There's a reason why there's no snow leopards here.
Well, I feel like the snow leopard throughout this whole section is just such a huge tease. Because you have evidence of snow leopard everywhere.
I know. I love how they talk about the snow leopard is watching them when they see the blue sheep like take off, and he says, you know, we're not gonna see it unless it moves. Right now, it's watching us. I'm just thinking like, it's deep. In Kathmandu, the snow leopard watches you.
I mean, but you've seen footage of snow leopards, and like it's really crazy, incredible how well they can camouflage, and how well they can hide, and you can know based. I think one of the great things about this is that you can know that a snow leopard is present based on the reactions of everything else in the environment. All the animals, the plants, etc. You know that there's a snow leopard there, but you physically can't see it, but to know it. And I feel like that's part of the quandary of this guy's spiritual journey, is to know it without seeing it. That's the whole thing about seeing the snow leopard.
Yeah, the snow leopard represents this unseeable object, that the search to see that object is what gives you your strength. And so that's how you benefit from that, you know? Like, that's the whole point, is to help you out.
I
It's
also
the journey, not the destination.
I wanted to, since we're talking about the actual snow leopard, because I feel like the actual snow leopard itself is a big feature towards the end of this reading. Not so much at the beginning, but it kind of climaxes with trying to...
I mean, it's the title of the book, so I feel like it's a pretty big feature.
No, but I mean...
through.
But I mean, like, they find the poop, then they find the markings, then they find the prints.
That's another thing. Anyone else think it was hilarious how he described GS picking up the poop? Because he describes him, picking up with a bag that he was, he always carries around for situations like this. And then he ends with, and then he put it in the bag with our lunch.
I thought it was funny because...
I hope no one brought brownies today and get
Well,
some
I
food.
thought it was funny because if it were me on this expedition, that's exactly what I would do. I would just be like, whatever. I would
look at you and be like, my sandwich is in there. You have
it was
in your backpack.
Because I was like, yo, I get where he's coming from. I'm like, if it were me up in the Himalayas and I finally found snow leopard poop, I would be so excited that I found snow leopard poop. I would bag that shit and I would put it in there like, oh my god, this is so exciting. I found snow leopard poop. And I would not care where I put it. If it was next to your lunch, I don't care. It's snow leopard poop.
It's like, that's human poop.
No, listen, cat poop is very different looking than human poop.
We have cats, I know.
You know cat poop when you see it. Okay?
Okay.
You know cat poop.
I'm not a scat expert, so I don't...
I know what snow leopard poop looks like. And if I saw snow leopard poop in the middle of nowhere, 18,000 freaking feet up in the middle of the Himalayas...
I mean, I guess if you have, like, that few species of animals, you know what it is. Because, I mean, what else? You have the wolves, snow leopards, or goats. Wolves and snow leopards probably look kind of... Yeah, that's just way off. That's not gonna look anything like it.
Burbs.
Everyone knows what burb poop looks like. It's like wolf and snow leopard would look, similar. But then,
no,
ghost
not
would
even
be
close.
Like pebbles. So no,
wolf, canine, and feline poop is totally different.
What about yak poop?
It's totally different. That is like ungulate. That is like bovine poop. That's totally different.
There's a lot of yaks in this section too.
It's true.
That's like cow patty type of thing. That's like a plop of...
Is that the scientific name for it?
It's like a big... It's like...
plop.
It's like a big
that
plop.
Can't be an apex predator. It's a plop. We're looking for a log here, people.
No. I'm gonna use my expert scientist opinion right now and tell you straight up, yak poop...
Talk to me when you find a Snickers.
Yak poop is gonna look more like a grass pancake.
Okay.
And a wolf poop is gonna look more like a Twix.
Okay.
And a snow leopard poop is gonna look a lot more like a bunch of Tootsie Rolls everywhere. Like,
There
So
you
what
go.
you're saying is they have Halloween every year.
year round.
Halloween in the
Year-round
Himalayas
Halloween.
is so much different than here.
Listen, because wolves, they're apex carnivore predators, but they're not obligate carnivores, right? Wolves are not obligate carnivores. They can survive off of meat and other items. So they can eat berries and leaves and vegetation to supplement their diet. And they do regularly. Snow leopards are obligate carnivores, which means they can't ingest any vegetation. It does them no good. It'll make them sick. They literally need to consume meat and only meat. That makes their diet very specific. It also makes their poop look a certain way because they require a higher protein content. They get a lot of their water, H2O, from the moisture and the water within the animal that they're consuming. So because of that, they need to consume less water. They cannot consume vegetation. So a lot of what they need is consumed and taken from the animal itself, which is why their poop looks a lot different than, say, a wolf's poop or a yak, which I'm just going to say probably looks like a lot like a cow patty. It's probably a lot of chewed up, regurgitated grass. Cow plop. It's a plop.
Well, since we're on the topic of wolves, kind of, and canines,
I can't believe we just spent so much time about this
Talking
whole
about-
section of this chapter talking about poop.
It was a big part of it. Anyways, just like to say, first off, hello, Amy. Welcome to the chat. And she just wanted to point out that there is a David Bowie channel on Sirius this month. Sirius XM.
Angela, thank you
That's
so
cool.
much
That
for
is
that.
awesome.
That's
What
fantastic.
channel
So-
is it?
Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't say.
Because
We're gonna have
that'd
to
be
find
good.
it, right? But
I've been listening to the Beatles for like a month at work.
Oh my god, that's
Are you?
awesome.
It's
I
great.
have
I'm not getting sick of it, but other people are. They
I
actually
have-
just changed it.
I have the entire Beatles box set. I bought it like over 10 years ago. I have the entire catalog and I've listened to it multiple times. And I can honestly say, like, I don't care how many times I listen to the Beatles, I never get sick
Yeah.
of them. They're great.
But you got to tune into that radio station, listen to some of these songs so you can, get the melodies.
I apparently I
You're
do.
reading.
Yeah,
You
right.
can actually sing those parts.
I do want to point out this one passage, if I may, since we're talking about snow leopards and poop and scat. And I also thought it was very
I
interesting
think we got the poop talk out of us.
that the snow leopard scratched in his boot mark.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he saw the track, so he was like,
Yeah.
I know it's there. And so it's like you said, it's like you know it even though you can't see it. You know
So-
it still.
And I just want to point out, if all else fails, GS will send Jengbu to Saldang to buy an old goat as leopard bait. I long to see the snow leopard, yet to glimpse it by camera flash at night, crouched on a bait, is not to see it. If the snow leopard should manifest itself, then I am ready to see the snow leopard. If not, then somehow, and I don't understand this instinct even now, I am not ready to perceive it. In the same way, I am not ready to resolve my con. And in the not seeing, I am content. I think I must be disappointed, having come so far, and yet I do not feel that way. I am disappointed, and also I am not disappointed. That the snow leopard is. That it is here. That its frosty eyes watch us from the mountain. That is enough.
In Kathmandu, Snow Leopard watches you.
Well, I think what he's trying to say is that if you set a trap and you're looking through binoculars through a camera and you're luring it in to eat off of this thing, you're not seeing the snow leopard for what the snow leopard truly is. You're luring it in to to specifically take pictures or to
You're seeing
specifically
it on
see
your terms.
You're
not
seeing
the Snow Leopard's terms.
right. You're not seeing it on the Snow Leopard's terms. To look up and have the Snow Leopard just be there, walking along, or whatever, to just happen to just see it doing its thing, just being a snow leopard, is a miraculous event without any manipulation from any outside forces. And I think he's kind of acknowledging also the kind of Buddhist aspect of the teacher does not appear until the student is ready to see. And I think he's looking at the snow leopard like with that kind of reverence of, if I have earned the ability to see the snow leopard, I will see it.
It's like the snow leopard and the llama are occupying the same space in a sense. He's searching for the same thing in both of them. You know, he's searching for a guide, someone to give him answers to questions, you know,
Show him the
that kind
way.
of thing.
I also want to point out this. I've lost the trail now, but that leopard is right here, right this minute, watching us. His words are borne out by the sheep, which break into a short skittish run as the wind makes its mid-morning shift, then flee the rock and thorn of this bare ridge, plunging across the deep-crusted snow with hollow booming blows, in flight to a point up on the crystal mountain. Blue sheep do not run from man like that, even when driven. So they see all of these reactions and actions and environmental things that happen because a snow leopard is present. But they're not seeing the actual cat in and of itself. Which I found very interesting.
Well, those things can camouflage. Almost invisible in the mountains.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes them such a spiritual being, because they tell the whole myth of the guy, the god who came on his winged snow leopard to defeat the demon, and then the winged snow leopard multiplied into 108 snow leopards. And there's a reason why the snow leopard is so highly revered in that region. Even to this day, conservationists use the cultural respect of the snow leopard to perpetuate conservation efforts, because one of the biggest things about snow leopard conservation that they have trouble with is people complaining about them eating livestock, etc., etc. So conservationists try to channel that deeper cultural respect for the snow leopard and what the snow leopard represents and how important it is as a species and as a cultural icon, that the snow leopard is representative of something bigger than humanity and more, I don't want to say majestic than humanity, but the snow leopard is this big, greater being within that culture that just, it's the snow leopard. It's Sao. It's to be revered and respected and held as a sacred being for those reasons. And I think this whole section really kind of ties into the idea of what it means to see a snow leopard and what it means to see it in the sense that GS is trying to trap one to just get a glimpse of it to take a picture, versus Peter just like sneaking up on the blue sheep, just being like, you don't see me, guys. I'm just sitting here. I'm just looking at you. You know? Versus him meditating. Because there's all these pieces about him meditating
Yeah, he talks about his meditation spot, like the place he goes at the camp that they were staying at.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
He would go to this particular place. So it was clearly a part of his daily practice. It's kind of cool to see that actually come through as a healthy behavior in a practical sense because you're surviving out on the mountain. Like you need some kind of sustenance, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have another?
I have lots. I have
Okay.
lots. If the snow leopard is abroad, then I may see it, and if it makes a kill, I shall see birds. GS has crossed the river early to look for more fresh sign. He tries not to let the leopard interfere with his study of blue sheep, but the great cats have a strong hold on him, and the snow leopard is the least known of them all. It is wonderful how the presence of this creature draws the whole landscape to a point, from the glint of light on the old thorns of a sheep to the ring of a pebble on the frozen ground.
That's so cool. It's like this unseen ghost. It's like a ghost that can just be invisible and no one will ever see it, but it still has an effect.
It's called the ghost of the Himalaya. That's like a nickname for the cat. And I just remember reading that passage and thinking about GS and who he is and what he does, and thinking about who I am and what I want to do. And he's like going to research these sheep and study their rut and blah blah blah. But even when he's up here and he sees all these physical signs of snow leopard, he's like getting distracted by the idea of, oh, there's a snow leopard. I have actual physical proof that there's a snow leopard here, and he's here to study the sheep, but he's just like, there's a snow leopard, and it's almost distracting him.
Oh.
All I can think of is just, God, if I was in that situation, if I was the field scientist, and I knew that there was a snow leopard, maybe not even 100 yards from me, it would be so insanely hard to concentrate on anything other than the fact that there is a snow leopard within 100 yards of me, and to just not be completely overwhelmed by that and curious and wanting and yada yada yada. Like I just really felt where Schaller was coming from, because Schaller is a big cat scientist. He has done some incredible work with big cats that I've read, and he's an incredible big cat.
Did he ever glimpse a snow leopard?
Well, it said in the book earlier, he is one of the only few people who have ever glimpsed one in real life.
Oh, it did say that?
Yeah.
So? Okay.
He glimpsed one once before, and he's like, this is my next chance to potentially glimpse a snow leopard in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm like, oh my God, if that was me up there, it would become like single-minded obsession. And it kind of does, because he's like trying to think of all these ways to see the snow leopard. But at the same time, I get the other guy's perspective that, like, I wouldn't want to see the snow leopard if I had set up cameras and trapped bait and done all of this. I would want to just be and just see it.
I feel like that's a natural reaction from most scientists. You want to study your subject in their natural environment.
But snow
And
leopards are
by
just
creating
so
an
elusive.
artificial environment, you're not really studying their behaviors.
You're triggering.
You're studying that, oh yes,
Yeah.
they eat meat and they eat sheep. Okay, now we know.
I also want to just go to this and just ask you guys what you think of this. In the longing that starts one on the path is a kind of homesickness, and some way on this journey I have started home. Homegoing is the purpose of my practice, of my mountain meditation, and my daybreak chanting of my koan. All the peaks are covered with snow. Why is this one bare? To resolve that illogical question would mean to burst apart, let fall all preconceptions and supports. But I am not ready to let go, and so I shall not resolve my koan, or see the snow leopard, that is to say, perceive it. I shall not see it because I am not ready. I meditate for the last time on this mountain that is bare, though others all around are white with snow. Like this bare peak of the koan, this one is not so different than myself. I know this mountain because I am this mountain. I can feel it breathing at this moment, as its grass tops stray against the snows. If the snow leopard should leap from the rock above and manifest itself before me, Sa'ow! Then in that moment of pure fright, out of my wits, I might truly perceive it and be free.
I need to take 1 minute on that. I will be right back.
Sure.
You just blew his mind.
That's a huge part of the story for me right there. That is a huge milestone for the story for me right there.
Well, that was like the last paragraph, wasn't it? In the section?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, ended on a big note.
Fair.
I don't know. What'd you think?
I think that there is a lot to be said about the universe will let you have the thing when you are ready to have the thing. When you are ready to truly grasp what the snow leopard is, and the beauty and the majesty and the miracle of what the snow leopard is,
I guess
and you can truly understand the gravity of what a snow leopard is, then you will see it. But if you don't really grasp the gravity of what it means to sit and observe and see a snow leopard, then you will not see one. And I think that is one of the great laws of the universe. I think it is one of the great Buddhist laws and rules. And I think he is coming to terms with the idea of what that really means. Because Buddhism has played such a huge role. And if you are not ready...
Has Peter Matheson ever seen a snow leopard?
I'm not going to...
Fair enough that the book isn't over yet.
We're not done with the book
sorry
yet.
for my absence.
Oh, no.
No, you're okay.
But,
I was
he's talking
expounding
about how
on
he's gonna head down, so I figured he isn't gonna see one, or is he gonna see it like the last minute as he's leaving? He's gonna be walking down the mountain and just glimpse it moving across the pass.
Well, that's the thing, is we end with him getting ready to leave, and as of the moment where he's getting ready to leave, he says, like the bare peak of the Con, this one is not so different from myself. I know this mountain because I am the mountain. I can feel it breathing at this moment. At its grass top strays against the snows. If the snow leopard should leap from the rock above and manifest itself before me, Sa'ow! Then in that moment of pure fright, out of my wits, I might truly perceive it and be free. So... it is literally his last day here, and he is saying, like, if I... Oh, okay.
All right, let's hold on. Give it 1 second for it to update on YouTube.
All right, well, can I pee then?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
Well, I have to pee.
We had an issue there where OBS disconnected. Did you still hear us? Was it our internet, or was it?
I can still hear you. I heard you.
So it must have just been the software. We've been having some issues with the internet lately with it being slow, so I wasn't really sure how that was going on. Ever since the other night when you were over here and we were watching the movie and it like disconnected, we've had a few other times where it disconnects or it's just been running really slow. And we're doing good so far. We got through what was it? Like it restarted the live counter. But, oh no, it didn't. So we got through about an hour and 40 minutes of streaming and then something happened. But at least it was just the software and it was a quick fix.
Yep. Almost like an earthquake or something, but for computers.
Right. Oh, there's always something. Tonight was going too smooth.
Data byte quake.
Sorry, everybody.
Quake.
Data quake, yeah. In a few years, maybe that'll be a thing, once we're all in the metaverse.
No, I'm not going to be in the metaverse. So, Noelle, I'm going to ask both of you guys, what is your opinion of the snow leopard? As an animal, as a symbol, as a whatever you think?
It's cool.
I mean,
that is all.
I like how Peter, the author, is approaching it as a spiritual quest because he knows how unlikely he'll see one. You never know that you're going to see something. You just have to believe you will. But even the belief is strong enough to allow you to experience whatever. So it's a win-win at the end of the day in a spiritual sense.
I think it's a kind of a metaphor for life, in that no matter how unlikely it is something's going to happen, how difficult it is to get there, you should go for it, because if he just decided, well, I'm probably not going to see it, and that journey's long and doesn't go, well, there's no chance he's going to see it. So I think the snow leopard kind of represents perseverance and
the strength of faith,
the life journey.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to ask you what you guys think of this quote. The Llama of the Crystal Mountain appears to be a very happy man, and yet I wonder how he feels about his isolation in the silences of Sakang, which he has not left in 8 years now, and because of his legs, may never leave again. Since young Boo seems uncomfortable with the llama, or with himself, or perhaps with us, I tell him not to inquire on this point if it seems to him impertinent, but after a moment, young Boo does so. And this holy man, of great directness and simplicity, big white teeth shining, laughs out loud in an infectious way at young Boo's question. Indicating his twisted legs, without a trace of self-pity or bitterness, as if they belong to all of us, he casts his arms wide to the sky and the snow mountains, the high sun and the dancing sheep, and cries, "Of course I am happy here. It's wonderful, especially when I have no choice."
I mean, got no choice. I mean, you might as well just appreciate what you got.
Yeah, I mean, that was just
he has no
brilliant.
choice.
I don't know. It was just brilliant. I can't even...
You just gotta find the beauty in your current situation.
I feel like it is an expression of the quote, freedom, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional here.
Isn't free?
No. Freedom is resting easy in the harness. It's a famous quote. Mm-hmm. Freedom is resting easy in the harness. That is all that freedom really is. And
yeah,
I
it's
think
like you can shape how you feel, you can yeah, that type of thing.
There's another quote in here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it because I've literally littered this thing with quotes, not just for this, but just to like look back upon later when I need something to
Inspire.
yeah, when I need a little something. But there's a part in the book where it's the whole freedom resting easy in the harness thing, and the llama talking about, well, I have no choice, and he talks about free will at some point in this section of the book, and I feel like I don't have the time to kind of rifle through and look, although I want to look to find it. But there is this section where he talks about the hardships of individuals and how they just accept their fate smiling, but they have a choice to do the thing or not do the thing, but they do the harder thing anyway, and they're happy about it. And it's just the whole idea of free will is that whether it's preordained that you will make this choice, and whatever it is, the universe, time, etc., it's already preordained that you're going to make this choice, right? The whole idea is that time and space, blah, 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 it's all there. It's all predetermined. Everything that's going to happen, it's all there, right? So whatever choice you make, like, it's already been made, right? So even if you live in the moment and you're enlightened, but you already know that everything that has happened, and everything that will happen has happened, and you're living in the present. So everything that has happened, and everything that will happen has happened. So you've already made that choice.
Yeah.
Right?
It is written. It is
written. You've already made the
Yeah.
choice. But you still have the freedom in the moment to make the choice. And that is the crux of what free will means.
Right,
And a
it's
lot
not
of these,
the choosing, it's the fact that you can choose, even though it doesn't mean anything. You
even
still can.
though it's already known what you're going to choose, you still have the freedom to make the choice in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's like the crux of free will, and that's, I think, what it means to rest easy in the harness. And that's what freedom means. And I think that's how these people in the mountains kind of perceive time and space. And that's why they're just so about everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. There's some parts I wanted to point out too. Some of my favorite sections.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. We still got some time.
We've been talking over here.
I know. I feel like I've been talking a lot, and I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's a point where they talk about the gods of the Vedas.
Yeah. Okay.
And they talk about the sky god.
Yep.
And all the different creatures that, I guess, worship it or are its archons or something, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they say griffins or griffons.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says the mythical Garuda.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know the mythical Garuda. So I looked it up, and it's like this little yellow bird. But it's like it's almost a harbinger of the god Vishnu.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So they're like his familiars in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like if they show up, then Vishnu is probably not far behind,
Right. If you see this then you
Kind
know.
of like the equivalent of the raven to Odin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So I was like, huh, I didn't know about that mythical creature, you know?
yeah, I didn't
Little
either.
yellow bird.
And that's so weird. Just that you have Griffin or Griffon. I feel like I'm just posh saying it.
'Cause they
Oh
mention
no,
it
we only
multiple
have
times.
Griffons here. Griffons and dragons, and then by the way, Tweety's in there too.
Yeah. But Tweety's packing big guns, you know? Like Vishnu's probably, I think he's like pretty powerful, you know? Like
That's what I mean.
Vishnu's-
Tweety's got that.
Yeah, for real.
But here's the thing I wanted to point out also is that a page before that, he talks about seeing a golden eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, could that be a Garuda? Because it's gold, right? It's the same
Yeah.
color. It's a bird.
Yeah. Which leads me on to my next question. What did you think of the fact that when he finally gets into the monastery and he sees the painting of the female Yeti?
Yes, I was so happy the Yetis came back. Oh my god.
I know. I feel like you're just here like, I don't care about Snow Leopard. Just one.
Well, I was more into wolves and yaks this time around, but the Yeti was always kind of there.
Because it's always in the background, the idea of the Yeti. Really? You guys aren't all about the Snow Leopard? I've been all about the Snow Leopard
I'm
since
into
day
it.
one. Maybe
I
it's
feel
just
like
'cause-
this section of the book was kind of my part of my acceptance. Like if this book was me doing a spiritual journey, then this
Yeah.
section was like my acceptance that I will probably never see a snow leopard. But even if I don't, that's okay. You know?
Yeah. You
And
have
then the
Well, I
section
think that's his
4
whole thing,
along the way.
right?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
What did you guys think of the
Hold on. No, I'll say you had a few things. We talked
Okay,
about
okay.
one.
I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Panthera uncia
I
gets
just
me
wanna
so
make sure-
excited. I'm sorry. Panthera
Let Noelle
uncia.
speak a little bit here.
Okay. I'm
So
sorry.
we did the Garuda thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The golden
And
eagle
then-
is definitely cool, and I love the griffin as a not just a symbol in Asian mythology, but also you have the griffin reference in medieval European mythology, so it's like a bridge.
And
which is
Harry
very
Potter.
cool. Well, Harry
Gryffindor.
Buckbeak,
Yeah.
though not really.
For The Witcher.
Buckbeak is a hippogriff. It's not the same.
Hmm.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I just really liked this passage on 223.
Go for it.
It's one of those where he just starts having these crazy thoughts, like not related to his trip, just
Yeah.
like
I
cool
wonder
musings on stuff, you know.
I wonder if we favorited the same thing.
Well, this is okay. Hold on.
No, I don't think we did because I did not favorite this. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Says rock and snow peaks all around the sky and great birds and black rivers. What words are there to seize such ringing splendor? But again, something arises in this ringing that is not quite bearable, a poised terror, as in the diamond ice that cracks the stone. The brain veers, the sun glints like a weapon, the black canyon writhes and twists, and the crystal mountain looms as a castle of dread, and all of the universe reverberates with horror. My head is the sorcerer's skull, cup full of blood, and were I to turn, my eyes would see straight to the heart of chaos, the mutilation, bloody gore, and pain that is seen darkly in the bright eye of this lizard.
Yeah, that's pretty dark. I think he just saw Mordor, is what he saw. Like,
That's pretty intense. That was unexpected.
Yeah, that
I was
was.
like, that's the most metal thing I've ever heard. Like, what is it doing in this spiritual journey for snow leopards? They're talking about skulls full of blood and like.
I think
I
it's
guess your spiritual
crazy.
journey starts with death metal. That's what it's telling you.
I think it's a manifestation of man's fear of the awesome power of nature to snub him out. Which is why you
Right.
have these malevolent kind of demon characters, etc., that play into the story. But it's definitely a kind of like fear is the mind killer kind of moment.
Oh, we're getting some Dune in here.
Why not?
We don't see a snow leopard because the worms got him.
But he has this moment, he has these incredible moments of enlightenment where and I'm pretty sure I flagged him, there are passages where he sits and he meditates and he feels like he's breathing with the mountain and the mountain is, and he just cries for no reason. And then he talks about how he can't articulate it into words, and to try to articulate it into words is futile in and of itself. Trying to create permanence, which in and of itself is counteractive to the idea of being enlightened, because you're not trying to create permanence, you're just trying to be in the present. And then you have these
Right.
other moments where he's like upset that he hasn't seen a snow leopard, but also trying to accept that he hasn't seen a snow leopard. And then, can we just take 5 minutes to just totally go off the whole deep conversation we're having and just talk about the fact of what the blue sheep do when they're in rut? They stick their noses in the vaginas of the female sheep and drink their urine, and then they lick their own peepees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a thing. Like cows will do that too. Like,
and then the urine drips down their little beardies and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But he just seems like so scandalized by, like, they lick their own penises. Yeah, okay, dudes do that. They stroke their own dicks with their hands. Like, what's the difference?
It's their mouth. It's different.
They don't have hands. Are they gonna do it with their hooves?
I mean, I don't want to kink shame or anything, but it's pee. Get a golden shower. Like, come on.
We already talked about poop, so it's only natural we talk about pee.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. I'm just saying, like, if you're into that, whatever. But
I'm just saying he spends a lot of time talking about what they do biologically. And I remember reading this and going through, like, him describing all the steps, and that they lick their own penises, they stick their noses up in there, and they drink the urine, and blah 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 blah. And I remember reading all of this and going, and I don't know if I'm just a weirdo, but I just remember reading this going, that makes sense. I get it. Okay, that's just what they do. All right, that's fine.
I mean,
I get it.
I've been around these types of animals growing up, so it didn't throw me off, that whole thing, because cows do the same thing.
That's too funny that cows do the same thing. I didn't know that, because they're not goats or sheep. They're a totally different.
Well, they don't do the exact same thing, but it's very similar. They'll, like, stick their noses up there, and then I'm pretty sure you've seen, like, gifs of cows making those weird faces. It's almost like a smile, but like crazy smile. They like lift their lips up and just.
Have you ever seen a cat do the Fleming response?
Yeah.
That whole.
That's kind of what cows do, but yeah, they'll do that.
It's a pheromone thing.
Yeah.
It's totally a biological
thing.
Yeah,
it's the thing with, like, just animals.
Humans do it, but we've just lost touch with.
We just control ourselves now.
Humans excrete pheromones much the same way that animals do. We excrete pheromones that
I know. I'm talking about, like, just sticking our faces there and making weird faces.
Right, but that's like primates don't do that though. Like that's just not the primate way. But I'm just saying that humans are so out of touch with those biological cues that now you have people going, "Does he like me? I don't know. Does she into me? I don't know. I don't know. If you could smell the fucking pheromones, maybe you'd know. Maybe if you were a little more intuitive, you'd be able to figure it out."
I mean, it's too deep, but we're still in tune with them. We're just we react differently to them.
I think.
I've actually read
I think people
articles on
think
this.
too deeply about it.
Well, that's the problem. We have more conscious thought that we can process it and make decisions based on it instead of just kind of going with the instincts. But we still react to pheromones.
Right.
In a similar way.
Well, but I'm also saying like maybe we should think about those pheromones and be like, "Oh, I just reacted to this. I am attracted to this person. Let me rather than be like, I don't know. I think they were sending me mixed signals. I feel like people overthink shit a lot. Biology.
I don't know. We're not couples therapy here.
No, we're not. We're not.
And we're running out of time. So, Noelle, I think you had one more thing you wanted to say.
Let's see. I feel like there was one other thing. Oh gosh. Okay. It was when he was talking about mountains.
Okay.
And it's like we kind of talked about this before, like me and the mountain are the same. Basically, like
breathing is
we're
one.
Yeah, like we're both in the same space. We're both ringing together.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. So I forget the exact passage, but it was just more of that. And I just like that idea because I really like mountains, Like it's crazy to see them and just be like, that's a really big rock. Oh my God.
That is a rock that was thrust up over hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Because two continental plates are jamming together.
I also love
with such force.
I love the idea that when he talks about it, he feels like he's breathing with the mountain, and the mountain is actually moving. When you think about mountains, because they're such big pieces of rock, you think of them as these big stationary things. But he's thinking of everything as living, breathing, in rhythm, in sync, all one. We are all atoms together, just chilling, or should be just chilling, right?
Well, I think the Himalayas are growing like an inch a year or something like that because the plates are still crushing together. So technically, they are still moving.
So here's my last question. We've gone through 3 sections of this book. We have 1 section left, and the last section is called I'm not gonna lie, I kind of read ahead a little bit today, but I did not talk about it. But the last section is called The Way Home. Do you think our author will see a snow leopard?
I'm leaning towards no at this point.
Yeah, me too, but I almost want to say that he's going to be like going down the mountain and he's just going to like glimpse one out of nowhere because he's accepted it, and because of his acceptance he's like ready to see it or something.
That's cool.
I'm going to gamble. And say yes. I'm going to say at the final hour he's going to see it.
He's going to see it. Yeah, what do you think?
Oh, that's such a tempting idea, like Deus Ex Snow Leopard.
Yeah.
Deus Ex Pantera. Unsi. Unsi.
Like, how are you gonna name it the Snow Leopard if you don't see a snow leopard? Come on.
Because maybe it's really about the unknowable.
Well, it should be the unknowable.
GS did say Maybe
it's a
there are some
metaphor.
things we're not supposed to see. Oh my god, I am so excited for you guys to read the final section of this book.
Yeah,
Because the
I'm
final
excited too.
the final section of this book is just so
Is it your favorite?
yeah,
Wait, don't
actually.
answer that. Don't answer that.
I already did. I'm sorry, it's
Too
too
late.
late. The
Okay.
final section of the
Quick,
book
mute it. Mute it.
is my favorite.
Okay. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed this book regardless. I actually see it as a really good reference to all sorts of cool ideas. So there's
Yeah,
like the
it's a
central
book
plot,
that you
and then
want to
there's all these cool references.
that's why I highlighted so much, because it's just a book you can just come back to over and over and over when you need something, or when you want to. The last section of this book, when we discuss it, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna bawl. I'm gonna cry.
It's okay.
I will cry.
That being said, you did choose our next book, Noelle.
Why don't we discuss that next time? Because it's our last section.
Well, yeah, but this gives people time.
All right, fair enough. All right,
Get it.
fair enough.
Some extra time.
That's fair. Okay, go ahead.
So, you have the floor, Noelle.
Okay. Well, I think the next book we're going to read is called A Wizard of Earthsea. And it's by Ursula Le Guin. And it's a fantasy novel, but it's only, I think it's 200 pages. 200?
Standalone novel, or is it like part of a greater collection?
It's the first of a trilogy.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure. But,
oh man, you're getting me in. You're gonna tease me with the first book, and then I'm gonna have to read the rest. That's how it's gonna be, isn't it?
well, I remember reading them when I was a kid, and I kind of thought they all stood alone. It was almost
okay.
like 3 separate tales of this one character.
Oh, all right.
But like this one is kind of the introduction to his character, so it's pretty foundational for the character. So
all right.
I'm just
I'm
intrigued
excited to give it a go.
I'm just intrigued for the simple fact that I literally know nothing about it, and I'm excited.
I'm excited to get back to fantasy. I haven't read a fantasy book in a while. I mean, we're reading Game of Thrones, but you know,
AKA Biggs
like
is like, I don't like this spiritual crap. That's not me.
What? I chose How Do You Live?
Just kidding.
Ow,
Take a joke.
Ow. Take a page out of Buddha's book. No violence. But no,
this is
I'm
just
excited.
karma.
Never mind.
I'm just kidding.
So I'm excited to give that book a look.
I know, it sounds very interesting. Just the title alone, I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm down. So for next week, we will finish the Snow Leopard and read the section The Way Home.
All right.
And we will conclude the epic tale of the Snow Leopard.
So we will see you then.
One of my top 10 favorite novels of all time. Well,
I'm really liking
really
it.
a novel.
I think it's pretty good.
Top 10 books of all time.
Dang. And on that note.
Okay.